Absolutely. Here's your article transformed into a natural, flowing narrative-style speech format with rich detail, extended insight, and more than 50 developed paragraphs without breaking the continuity. You can use this as a long-form commentary, article, or video script. The stage was set under the bright lights at Docklands Stadium in Melbourne. The Matildas were back, and the energy was palpable. It was the first match for Australia's women's national team since the heartbreaking news that their superstar forward, Mary Fowler, had suffered an ACL injury. Her absence hung in the air, but it was also a moment of opportunity, a moment for fresh faces to emerge. Among those faces was debutant Kahli Johnson, stepping onto the field with confidence and hunger. From the very first whistle, you could tell she was ready to leave a mark. Early in the match, she darted into the box, finding a sliver of space. A half chance emerged, but just as quickly, the Argentinian defense swarmed and closed it down. Still, the intent was clear. Moments later, Johnson timed a forward run just a touch too early. The offside flag went up, ending what could have been a brilliant chance. But again, it wasn't about the result of the move. It was about the promise. Her energy was contagious. She wasn't waiting to settle into the match, she had already declared herself part of the front line. The Matildas were dominating possession by the midway point of the first half. Argentina, ranked 33rd in the world, had adopted a compact 4-4-2 formation. It was a strategy meant to absorb pressure, frustrate, and counterattack when the time was right. But Australia wasn't flustered. They continued to press, to probe, to knock on the door. Holly McNamara, another young star, looked especially lively. Her footwork was sharp, her passes were intentional, and her movement, electric. The chemistry between her and Johnson was building, almost in real time. Set pieces were starting to create real danger. Kaitlyn Torpey connected on a corner, but her effort was blocked. A minute later, Claire Hunt rose high to meet a delivery from Emily van Egmond. Her header drifted wide, inches away from glory. Still, the Matildas were asking questions. And the answers weren't far away. Possession stats tilted heavily in Australia's favour. The tempo was theirs to control. But Argentina, to their credit, started to slow the game down. They weren't going to match Australia's pace in an open contest. So they tightened their lines. They dropped deeper. They forced the Matildas to work harder to find space. McNamara had another pop from outside the box, but a defender got just enough on it. The ball skidded wide. Jamila Rankin took the ensuing corner. It curled beautifully, but it was cleared, and suddenly Argentina had their first real break. A quick counter. A glimpse of danger. But the Matildas were disciplined in transition. Crisis averted. Charli Grant made a thunderous run down the right wing, a burst of speed that cracked open the flank. She sent in a cross that found McNamara again, but the forward's header lacked precision. Still, it was another moment that showed this young Australian side had rhythm, had structure, and above all, belief. Rankin wasn't shy about trying her luck either. She sent in a lofted ball from range, testing Abigail Chavez in goal. The Argentine keeper held it cleanly, but the message was sent. The Matildas were going to shoot from anywhere. And Chavez had to stay alert. On the opposite end, Teagan Micah had yet to be called into any serious action. That was a testament to the control her teammates were exerting in midfield and defense. From the backline to the final third, the Matildas were threading together passes with purpose. Kahli Johnson wasn't done showing off her flair. She burst into the goal square again, full of pace and hunger. This time, she drilled a shot across the face of goal. It missed, but not by much. She was backing herself. This wasn't a player easing into the moment. This was a debutante owning it. And then came one of the finest moves of the half. Johnson, silky and composed, sliced through 3 Argentine defenders with a perfectly weighted ball to McNamara. It was the kind of pass you don't expect from a newcomer. McNamara took the shot, but it curled just wide. Another missed opportunity, yes, but one dripping with potential. Australia continued to dominate the early minutes. Argentina was sitting deep, defending with discipline. But that wall couldn't hold forever. You could feel it. The crowd could feel it. The Matildas were building something. The formations were taking shape. Argentina kept their defensive rigidity, but Australia's possession-heavy approach was beginning to crack open spaces. It wasn't just about possession for possession's sake. It was a means to destabilize the structure in front of them. The national anthems had opened the night with pride. The photos had been taken. Now, this match was beginning to write its own story. This wasn't just a friendly. It was a proving ground. A test of depth. A preview of the next generation. And in that next generation, players like Johnson, McNamara, Rankin, and Grant were making their case loud and clear. Every pass told a story. Every sprint down the wing added to the narrative. The shots might not have gone in yet, but the intent, the control, and the quality were undeniable. This was a team adjusting to a world without Mary Fowler, for now, but refusing to slow down because of it. It was about new combinations, fresh legs, first caps, and endless ambition. And while the scoreboard still read 0-0, the Matildas had already won something far more meaningful: belief in the future. The fans saw it, the coaching staff saw it. Even Argentina had to feel it. This was the start of something. Maybe something big. Because on this night in Melbourne, the Matildas were not just playing, they were evolving. And every minute told a piece of that story. Let me know if you'd like a YouTube title, thumbnail, voiceover script, highlight segment, or 50 hashtags for this recap.